Hey, Kentucky, this is Matt Jones. Malik Monk says he's ready to take on his home state this weekend. John Calipari says the D-League is no place for a high school star. And the Stallions Mascot controversy, it just will not die. We'll talk about it and a lot more next on Hey, Kentucky. Welcome, everybody, to Hey, Kentucky. The always handsome Perrin Johnson, dapper dressed, is here. How are you?
I'm happy to be here. Happy New Year.
It's very good to see you. It's been a while. Thanks for coming up. Now, UK is gearing up for Saturday's game against Arkansas, and Malik Monk says he's playing against his home state, and it's not a big deal. Monk was recruited hard by the Razorbacks, but he chose to come to Kentucky, and he took a lot of criticism from Arkansas fans for doing it. Monk told reporters Thursday he's glad the game's at Rupp because he thinks he would have gotten a lot of boos in Arkansas. But despite his backstory, Monk says he's approaching this game just like any other. Take a listen.
Same emotion for every game. I don't think anything is bigger or anything like that. So I'm just focusing in and listening to what Cal says.
Not a little bit?
Nah, nothing.
Honest?
Yeah, honest truth right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, Perrin, do you believe him? You played basketball. You're playing your home state. Monk took a ton of criticism for coming here. Do you think he's got a little extra effort for Saturday?
I think I'm worried about him not having a good game because I feel like he might try to overdo it a little bit, you know, get into early foul trouble because he wants to show off for everybody at home. It's going to be like a homecoming for him. So I don't look for him to necessarily have a good game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I don't think he'll have a good game.
If you go through history, since Cal's been here, when guys play their home state, and it's happened a whole lot, they've played bad almost every time. I can only think of one guy that really played well against his home state team, and that was Archie Goodwin against Arkansas. Maybe had his best game of his career against Arkansas. I think it's just natural, Perrin. You're going to try harder. You know your boys are watching. And also, I don't know I've ever known of a high school kid who took more criticism for leaving a state than him. That's got to affect him, too. It just has to, doesn't it?
I mean, absolutely. When you look at his ability, when you watch him put up those 47 points against North Carolina, you got to think about a kid like that. He's a program changer. He could have turned around that whole program.
Could have. That's exactly right.
So that's why those people down there in his home state are so bitter.
But you don't blame him. I mean, if you're Malik Monk, you come to Kentucky, right? Like, it's a no-brainer. If you go to Arkansas, you don't know what's going to happen, right?
I mean, absolutely. You know, if somebody gave me a job out of college and they said, well, you got to go to Hewlett-Packard or Microsoft, I'm definitely picking Microsoft. It'd be a fool not to.
Are you throwing Hewlett-Packard shade right now?
I'm just saying.
What if they're one of our big advertisers? You got to watch it, Perrin. Now, John Calipari released a new podcast Thursday. No, it wasn't the one with Rick Pitino, but he included some interesting talk about the one-and-done rule. He was with Dan Patrick and said even if the rule changes, Kentucky is still going to attract top recruits to the team, and that he's fine if high schoolers end up going straight to the pros. But he does draw a line at high schoolers going straight to the D-League. He said the players that go there get far less money than in the NBA. They have no scholarship to fall back on, and often it leaves them rudderless if they don't make the league. Plus, he worries that if you do that, kids will say, why do I even need to go to high school? They won't try because they don't have to worry about getting academically eligible for college. Perrin, do you agree with Cal?
I agree with him 110% because at the end of the day, the D-League is something that's not going to pay you a great deal of money. It's a great experience to get you exposure, but you're not going to be able to develop your game enough. College helps you develop your game, and you have something to fall back on. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to your school because the university, last time I checked, is not relocating.
The most interesting argument he made was that argument about high school kids. He says, like, high school kids have to work on academics now because they got to go to college for at least a year.
Yes.
But that if you take that away and they think, well, I can definitely go to the D-League even if the NBA doesn't draft me, he thinks there'll be 14 and 15-year-old kids that won't even consider caring about school. That's an interesting point and one I'd never really thought of.
No, absolutely. When you have a kid that's on that brink, if he's in the top 50 and he doesn't want to go to class, he might let his grades slip and not really go to class and focus on his game. Well, let's say he goes to the D-League, he blows his knee out. Now what?
Now he doesn't even have a high school degree,
Exactly.
much less a college degree.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't care. That was a good point. Let me ask you, Cal and Rick, can you believe they did a podcast? Apparently it's being released next week.
You know, it's something I didn't think would happen, but it's kind of a good deal. You know, you think about Joby Hall and Denny Crum doing what they used to do.
But they never hated each other like these two guys did.
I mean, they say they don't hate each other.
Oh, you don't believe that. I mean, I know Cal pretty well. You know Rick pretty well. They hate each other,
Hey,
right?
I'm just listening to Coach Cal. Coach Cal says they're great.
Yeah.
They get along.
See,
And Rick
look at
Pitino
you.
said the same
Look at
thing
you
as well.
become Mr. PC here.
It's-
They hate each other. Now, Stephen Johnson was Kentucky's MVP of the Tax Slayer Bowl, but in-depth analysis of the game shows some unexpected names played well for Kentucky. Pro Football Focus broke down every play of the game and assigned each player a grade based on their performance. Kentucky's highest-rated player by far was freshman T.J. Carter, who stepped in for defensive tackle Courtney Miggins. The two top cats rated on the offensive line two top rated cats on offense were on the offensive line. Stephen Johnson was tied for fifth. These are some new guys, but T.J. Carter's a dude, Perrin. He came in, and I was sitting next to Jeremy Jarman, and Jeremy said, watch this kid. I love this kid. And he almost got an interception. He graded the highest. Now, sometimes that can be a little random, but it does tell you that the future's bright for UK football.
Yes, a lot of people were very upset with where the season was going early on, but it settled in toward the end, and it ended up being a good season for Kentucky. So, when you see what's going on and you see the recruits, those kids that are freshmen and sophomores are now going to be developed next year, and Kentucky's going to have something to be a force to reckon with in the SEC.
And the getting to play in the bowl game, which was something they didn't get to do for the last few years, it gave them some time to get new guys work. And T.J. Carter's a perfect example. Most people, I barely even knew who he was. But by playing and getting that extra practice, he got to play. Now, I want to ask on your side with the Cards, they lost their last couple games, including Kentucky. How do they go into the offseason?
It's a different focal point of what they're going to have to do. Lamar Jackson, everybody knows he's a great athlete. Now, if I'm him, I really work on my pocket presence and throwing the ball out of the pocket, because now I can beat you with my feet, but now I have to beat you with my arm, because people want to see him do that now.
Who's better next year, Kentucky or Louisville football?
We're losing a lot on defense, but I feel like we have a lot of talent still waiting. So we're just going to reload and see where it takes us. So I like Louisville.
See, I like Kentucky. I mean, they have the whole team back. I mean,
Yes.
Boone Williams is left, but besides that, they're all back.
Yes.
I think we beat you again
We
next
do have a
year.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, but we beat that Heisman. Just
we
try
shall
not to
see.
fumble the big games. Now, turning to the topic that simply will not go away, Lexington's Frederick Douglass High School dropped the Stallion mascot name after public reaction, and now dueling petitions are there trying to change it again. This was a backlash after the Stallion nickname. It means a virile male horse. And people said, hey, that doesn't make sense for girls' teams. So the school dropped it. But now there's a petition to bring it back, and another petition to change the name to Sir Barton High School instead of Frederick Douglass High School, to name it for a horse instead of the famous African-American leader. Now, Perrin, I knew this was going to happen as soon as you had the original petition. This controversy has now blown up nationally. It's now not even about the high school. It's people making political statements on each side. I feel bad for the people at that high school that were just trying to create a name. What's your thought on it?
It's stupid. None of these people, the people that are upset, aren't in high school anymore.
That's right. That's my point. The people that are upset have nothing to do with this.
You're like class of '78. Why do you care? Just send your kid to school. Give him a lunch.
And see, that's what's unfortunate. Ryan Lemon, who co-hosts the radio show with me, talked to the principal of the new high school. And he said he's lost sleep over this because he doesn't know how to make everybody happy. And I feel bad because these folks at the high school were just trying to do something nice. And now they're caught in this national political football. It's kind of sad if you think about it.
How about we just name it Maker's Mark High School? Just name it that. See how they feel about
that one will be a lot worse. First of all, it should be Frederick Douglass High School.
Yes.
That was the name of the old, during segregation, the old black high school in the county. They're naming it after him. I think that's great. The notion of switching it, that's just somebody trying to raise controversy. Would you have left the name at Stallions, or would you have changed it?
I wouldn't mind Stallions for the boys team and Phillies for the girls team, but then you might have two different mascots. It might be a bad deal. And the problem is you can't make everybody happy.
You cannot. Would you agree with me that those uniforms, though, are amazing?
I mean, they come out all the great stuff after you're done. I wish I was in high school again. That's
My
I'm
high
so
school
upset.
uniforms came up. They showed way too much of my inner thigh. Yet, so these look great.
I don't know about that
Yeah,
one.
well, you can come look at it anytime you want. It's been a whirlwind week in Frankfurt. I can't believe I said that. Kentucky lawmakers are passing bills that could change the face of the state. So we're bringing in local political expert Joe Sonka to help us break it down next on Hey Kentucky. I don't know why I said that.